Hey guys, how's it going? You're gonna have to bear with me on this one because this is like the first time I'm going off script, so my autism is gonna have to do most of the heavy lifting on this one. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about today is just like dating and like how it's changed like since the early 2000s. Back in the day, like dating used to be about connection, but now it feels more like a game that nobody really enjoys playing. Like dating now compared to like what I experienced back in the early 2000s is kind of crazy. I graduated high school in 2011 and I didn't get my first smartphone until the first year of college. So to put that in perspective, like I really didn't have any like social media or dating apps or smartphones like growing up in my childhood or even like in my teenage years. Like that stuff didn't really pop off until I was in college. Like it's kind of crazy to think that there's some kids out there who like don't know dating without the concept of like a dating app. For me, like dating kind of started in high school. Like you had like a set pool of girls to like potentially go out with, and there was like a familiarity there. That was like a comforting feeling in a way. But like now, like let's say like in terms of like dating apps, like every date you go on is pretty much like a blind date. You don't really have a lot to go off of. Pretty much all you have is like these pictures that they chose themselves. Like, of course, everyone's going to paint themselves in the best light, you know? But you really don't know these people. These people could be crazy, you know? Maybe they have like a vast collection of Elmo dolls. Or maybe they have this tick where they feel the need to like smack the nearest person in the face, like when they hear a loud sound. Like you have no idea what you're getting into. And like more than half the time, like the pictures you're getting are kind of like false advertising, you know? Like I've heard about girls using like AI photos for their dating apps. Like I can tell for the most part when stuff is AI, so it's kind of crazy that they're just doing that. And like I've heard like old women are using like apps to like de-age themselves and stuff so they can get like attention from men. Thinking you're going to go out with like this 25-year-old girl, you meet this like 45-year-old woman and you're like, Jesus. You know, and that's not to say men don't like falsely advertise stuff too. You know, I'm 5'11", but you got to round up though, like 6 foot, you know? I'm practically there, you know, like give me a break. One time I went on this date with a girl. It was kind of a weird date, not gonna lie. Like I went to her house to like pick her up and stuff, and I got out of my car and she took one look at me and she was like, "You're not 6 foot." My jaw was like to the ground because I'm like, damn, how did you know? I'm not 6 foot. Well, then you're not pretty. So it's like we're both liars. All right, let's go on our date. It was kind of weird though. We like went on a hike. Like it wasn't my idea. This like was like her idea. I thought like girls were like afraid to go on hikes with like strange men, you know, because they get like murdered or something. But she seemed okay with it. I don't know. She lived in the middle of nowhere, so maybe like walking in the wilderness was like the thing to do. I'm not really sure. It didn't work out though, needless to say. One time like my cousin told me he got catfished like crazy. like like he matched with this one girl and he's like, all right, let's go, we'll meet at this bar and stuff. He was going to the bar, and as he was like pulling into the parking lot, he saw this woman, like this large woman, just like smiling and waving at him. He's like, oh, that's weird. I don't think I know her. And then like he gets out of the car and walking towards the entrance, and the same woman like approaches him and she's like, hi. He's like, hi. And she's like, it's me, the girl that you matched with. and like and no joke, it's not like it wasn't like false advertise. I mean, it was false advertising. It wasn't like she used like younger pictures or AI. It turns out she used pictures of her friend in her profile. And like, my cousin's like mad cool and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, that's, you just, I don't know, I was just a little surprised because you don't, I wasn't expecting a completely different person. And dude, and he said like she started crying and she was like, "Ah, I just wanted somebody to give me a chance." And my cousin was like, "Oh, Jesus." And he's like, "Check, please." And then he bounced out of there. But that's what dating's like now. Back in the day, like you knew who you were dating. You know what I'm saying? Like I never felt more in love when I was in high school, man. you know, you had like your crush, and like, dude, I was like head over heels for some of these girls, man. Like, I was like in manic love, dude. Like, low key kind of cringe, but like, I was in love, dude. And like, I haven't like felt that like since high school ended. Like, ever since like social media came on the scene, it's just like, I don't know, the connection people have is, I don't know, it's just destroyed connection in general, like for everybody. And like, I feel bad for like dudes in high school today because like, I feel like all the women or girls in high school would just gravitate towards the chattiest chads in the whole like surrounding area instead of like the school, you know? So now, like, you're not just competing with other guys in your high school. You're competing with all the other guys from all the other high schools too. You know what I mean? And then like these girls get so many so many choices that like they can't choose one. They can't be happy. And like there's this weird paradox where like the more choice you have, the less like happy you are. I swear that's like a scientific thing. I don't know. Like I'm not making that shit up. Like that's like facts. Dating for high schoolers now is completely cooked. It's kind of crazy. You know, I can't put all my failures on dating apps alone. You know, I've definitely had my fair share of like disaster dates that were completely my fault. Like for example, like you know, I matched with this girl. It was around fall. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go. I don't know if you guys have this, but let's do like a corn maze. I'm like, cool. We can walk around, drink coffee, and just talk, whatever. And I go pick her up. I get to the location where the corn maze is supposed to be, and it's just a barren field. Like they cut down the whole corn maze. I'm like, shit. All right, whatever. We'll go to a different one. And then the next one I went to was like 20 minutes away. I got there. That one was also cut down. So I totally fucked up, like so bad. We were driving around forever trying to get to these cornfields that don't exist, and we're getting hungry. So like we go get pizza, and I drive her home, and that's it. And then I never hear from her again. That's not me though, you know. I just gotta plan better. I don't know. Back in the day, like you used to just date people who was like in your circle or in like just outside your immediate circle, like friends of friends or, you know, close acquaintances and stuff. Like you meet a girl that way and you meet like your friend groups like me and you meet like that. Now you just go in there completely blind and you just pray to God that they don't kill you. And I feel like the dynamic between like men and women today is so cooked, you know, like especially with like feminism, like really like, I don't know. It gives women like a lot of disdain for men. It really vilifies men, like paints us as like monsters, you know, they'd rather be with bears than men or something. But like, who pays for the date with feminism? You know, for one woman, like it might be empowering for a man to pay for her, but for another, it might be insulting if a man paid for her. You know, and her like opinion might change based on what TikTok she saw that day or her mood. You know, this is what happens when you live in a world of Andrew Tates and Bonnie Blues giving people like dating advice. Those people aren't exactly like great role models for men and women. This is gonna sound mad corny, but like the older you get as a man, you start to realize that looks really aren't everything, especially when it comes to like dating someone long term or like marrying somebody. Like sure, like she could be pretty, but if she's making her life like a living hell every day, like you gotta ask yourself, is it really worth it? Like not really. You gotta like be with someone you can vibe with, you know, you can chill with and like not feel stressed around, like someone you can like relax with, you know. I personally never have experienced that, as sad as it is to say, but I think there's someone out there for all of us. Anyways, if you guys made it this far in the video, I just want to thank you and keep a lookout for more future uploads. Thank you. Peace out.